Howdy, everyone. Welcome into the TexAgs Rewind. Luke is too good to start the show looking at the camera. We're presented by Specs. We're here inside the Rollo Insurance Studio. Ava Davis is over at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. And Ava, I don't want to ask you what your favorite part of the show was, just because that's so boring, and that's what we do every single time.
But I was ready to tell you.
Okay, what was it?
Caroline Fenton,
okay.
100%.
She's a rock star. Luke's favorite show or part was probably himself.
I mean, you got to, if no one else is going to pat yourself on the back, you got to be the first one to pat it. I don't think I made the rewind, but it was great talking to you today. But yeah, Caroline Fenton was great.
Cade, your pick.
I would also say Caroline Fenton, but the return of OB was fantastic.
Yeah, I completely agree. Here it is. Check it out. If Terry Bussey takes a step forward, then.
Yeah, if Terry Bussey becomes that consistent producer and deep threat that I think he can be, then I think A&M could have the most, or in the top 3 most explosive offenses in the SEC next year.
Do you think Terry Bussey isn't talked about enough? Because I feel like over the offseason we don't mention his name probably as much as we should. But maybe I'm off on that.
We talk about him, and when we do, it's what we just said. He needs to make a step. He showed flashes, and what we got out of Terry Bussey last year was a bonus because he wasn't even supposed. He never played receiver. wasn't even supposed to play receiver when he got here.
Yeah.
So everything was a bonus. But with a year of getting ready and bigger and understanding and actually playing receiver and all this, if he becomes the deep threat, I think that's what the one thing that A&M misses is a consistent deep threat.
Mm-hmm.
And if he can be that guy, definitely has the speed to be. And you throw in Casey Concepcion, and you throw in Mario Craver, you're already better at receiver.
Yeah.
And you're really good in the offensive line. And let's not forget that A&M, what was in conference games, what team led the SEC in scoring?
A&M.
A&M. So it should be a really good offense anyway with that offensive line. And I think Marcel getting better and Le'Veon back and Reuben Owens back. Then the additions at receiver. But if Bussey comes on and turns out to be that guy, that defense say, oh, good night, we gotta account for him.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think you'll have the whole package on.
Noah Thomas transfers out, right? But you get Kevin Concepcion, Mario Craver, some key additions back into that wide receiver room. And that's something we talked about all season long last year is where's the deep threat? Who's going to be that deep threat? You lose the guy that most people would consider the deep threat. But just do you think that wide receiver room got better, or is that still I need to see it, wait and see type of thing?
I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, you never want to lose a talent like Noah, especially with his height and his experience. But what I saw in the spring game from Concepcion and Craver, both of those guys look more than ready. I love the speed aspect that they bring. I love them getting across the field. I can't put my finger on it. I wish I had done like a deep dive on the roster. But there was another guy in the spring game that was new to the team, but he was making plays all over the place. I know he scored a touchdown. He made a couple of like 2 or 3 contested grabs that were just tough. And guys like that, you love seeing people put their hand in the pile as well. So I can't remember his name. It may come to you.
Are you thinking of Isaiah Williams?
Yes. He made some great catches. And for me, as a guy just outside looking in, when I see a guy doing that, I'm telling myself, okay, this guy wants it. He may have just played himself into a smaller role that he can probably grow into. So, again, you hate to lose Thomas, but I think that these guys are more than capable. And I think that with our plan, I see us running it, being run heavy on teams, getting an early lead, and then milking the clock. So I think these guys are more than capable to do that, and I'm excited to what they're going to show us.
What are your expectations for Marcel Reed this season? He's going to get, he's QB1 going into fall camp, right? Going to get the start. Be the starter, be the guy, So what are your expectations for him coming into 2025?
For Marcel, it's expectations from me, but I also know it's got to be expectations from himself as well. But I just want to see growth in all areas. I've been in situations where you were in a QB competition and you may not have been the starter or awarded that position, but you just got to stay ready. But there's a different aspect to it when you come in knowing that you're the guy. So I hope that he has some built-in. It's kind of like I don't know if you watch UFC, but once you get the belt, it's like you kind of gain some momentum and gain some points, knowing, okay, I'm the champ. I'm the best in the world. Now let me go out here and show that and prove that, and it kind of translated into your practice and your work.
Scheduling in the SEC and moving that to a 9-game conference schedule instead of the 8-game. Just talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, man, I want this. As a fan, I want better games. I know that ESPN wants this moving forward. They want better games. They're going to pay more for it. I think we're going to see it. Now, here's really where I think it benefits everyone. From the Southeastern Conference perspective, from Greg Sankey and others, you do not want a coach, speaking on behalf of coaches, and quite frankly, I was on board with this too. Turns out it would have helped Lane Kiffin to play in the SEC title game. But I understand where he's coming from last year. He's like, does it even benefit us to go to Atlanta?
Yeah.
You can't have an SEC championship game and have a scenario like we saw where it may not benefit you because you don't want the extra loss. So the SEC can reshape how we view strength of schedule, which is by far and away top of the class for strength of schedule for conference. You're adding the extra game, but what I think it does is it puts an emphasis on the SEC schedule. If you finish first, if you finish second, if you get the automatic qualifiers, first and second are going to be in the college football playoff. You win the SEC then. And then I think you have a play-in for the third and fourth teams as your representatives for the automatic qualifiers for the college football playoff. You play those games the same weekend you would have played them in Atlanta for the SEC title game. And then you have a true emphasis on the schedule itself. And it doesn't hurt you if you lose a game outside of your conference. Because you can be, theoretically, you could be the 11th team and go into the final week of the season with the chance to go to Atlanta and play your way into the college football playoff because you'll be one of the top 4 teams. You'll take teams, 3, 4, 5, and 6 who would end up going and playing in this. And I think it emphasizes and it strengthens even more so the conference head-to-head matchups that we already have and we're already watching.
Expectations for you for LSU coming into 2025. Take it away.
It's college football playoff. And I'm not going to say college football playoff or bust because I always think that's kind of a dramatic way to put it. You know, if LSU doesn't make the college football playoff, that doesn't mean that Brian Kelly is getting fired. That's what or bust means to me. But that's the expectation. It is now year 4 for Brian Kelly at LSU. The last 3 coaches at LSU have won national championships. That was the expectation when Brian Kelly took over. And that expectation really has only, gotten more urgent and you get to the SEC championship game in year 1. Amazing. Jaden Daniels wins a Heisman in year 2. Wonderful. You missed the college football playoff and go 8-4 in the regular season last year. It was a step back. So I think this year now with Garrett Nussmeier coming into year 5, his second year as a starter, the amount of money and the amount of investment that LSU made in the transfer portal this past transfer portal cycle, all of those things have just upped the ante even more. So the amount of talent on this roster, the amount of time now that Brian Kelly has had to build this program, it feels like the ingredients of a college football playoff caliber team. And it feels like that's where this program needs to be. And that's where Brian Kelly needs to have it going into year 4. So I think the biggest thing and the biggest point of optimism for me with this team is Garrett Nussmeier. You saw Joe Burrow, what he was able to do in year 2 at LSU. You saw what Jaden Daniels was able to do in year 2 at LSU. It was a seismic, shifts and leaps and bounds, both Heisman Trophy winners in year 2. I'm not saying that Garrett Nussmeier has to be a Heisman Trophy winner in year 2. I'll take it, obviously, as a fan. But I think that's what fans are expecting, that kind of leap, that kind of maturity, and that kind of step forward for Garrett Nussmeier as he takes over as the starter in year 2.
Ava, what do they have to do?
Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, and come back tomorrow for more with, who's it, Bronny?
It's Bronny.
It's Bronny.
Bye.